Yeah, you want to ask the first question, so go on.
Well, we'll ask the first question. Can I ask about what we're doing here?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, so obviously this week against Melbourne, we're launching our Rethink Your Waste campaign, and the overall aim is to raise a bit more awareness about the damage we're doing to the environment, purely because I think we're a bit uneducated on how to recycle and how to dispose of our waste properly. So all you need to do is look at the stands after a game of footy and have a look at the rubbish left behind, and it's pretty disgusting. So we ask all our fans this week to put their rubbish away properly at the bins at the stadium, and hopefully leave the stadium the way we found it when we walked in, and don't leave it up to the poor cleaners who have to stay here till midnight picking up.
And your involvement?
Yeah, I suppose I was educated about all the facts and the numbers earlier on in the year, and I think when you get told the actual numbers and where we're going to be in 15, 20 years' time, it's a bit of an eye opener. So I wanted to put my hand up and play a small part along with Liam Duggan, who's not here this morning. But we've been pretty keen to get involved, and I think hopefully the momentum can continue to grow and we get more boys involved over the next however long the campaign goes for.
Are you an environmentalist at heart?
I like looking after our world and the environment we live in. Obviously there's probably more I can do in my personal life to help, but no one's perfect, and I'm looking to make changes, which is the big thing.
There's so many puns you could use, but you won't play like rubbish on the weekend.
There's so many puns, and that was one of the worst ones I've ever heard. Hopefully not, no.
Tell us about the weekend, the importance. One, because Melbourne still have a fire in the belly to try and make the top 8, but for you, top 2, you can cement it. How important this weekend?
Yeah, there's a lot on the line for both sides, so it's going to be a cracking game, I would have thought, and we haven't had a great track record against Melbourne over here recently. We lost to them last year and only beat them by a goal the year before. So, when they turn up to play, they're as good as anyone in the competition, and it'll be a big test for us.
They've been copying it this week. Does that put you more on guard? Because they've been hammered for the fact they can't beat a top 9 team, or haven't been a top 9 team all season.
I think they've tended to respond pretty well to criticism throughout the season. So, and that's credit to them, credit to their coach, and they've got some A-grade talent throughout their side. So it's never a walk in the park against them, and especially this week, plenty on the line. I'd expect them to rock up at their best.
Especially that midfield, Luke. I think they're number 1 for clearances, but you've got the challenge of Max scoring in the air, but they've got some great plays at ground level as well. Yeah,
they do. They're a terrific midfield, and obviously still missing Jack Viney, but the depth goes on with them, and plenty of guys who can rotate through there. They've all got different strengths, and they've all had a great year to date. So, again, for our midfield, another great test.
You haven't got JK. I think they're the highest scoring team in the competition. Can you compete with that? I suppose you can. You'd be confident here on your home deck.
Well, hopefully. It's probably more about how we defend them more so than what we're able to kick. They've scored pretty powerfully over the year, and we'll need to work well as a team to defend them. We can't rely on just our back 6 or just Gov. We'll need to work together to help stop their scoring ability. But obviously going the other way, we've had a few injuries this year to guys up in our forward line, and I think we've managed to cover them pretty well. So hopefully this week guys can play a role, we can kick a winning score.
The injury toll across the league is extraordinary at the moment. The ability to, if you win this week, lock up second spot, guarantees up a home final, then be able to work out how you manage the final game of the year. Is that important, do you feel?
Look, it's important to win this week to lock up a top 2 spot, but I don't think we'd flirt with form or anything in the last round. We get the bye now before the finals, which would be a nice opportunity to freshen up. So I would have thought we'd continue to play our best side, and you do want to win every game you play. That's a competitive streak in all of us, and Brisbane, particularly up at the Gabba this year, hasn't been a walk in the park. So it'd be a nice challenge for us, hopefully heading into finals.
Just your thoughts on Clayton Oliver as a young kid who's, he's almost like a 25, 26-year-old, but playing as a 20-year-old. Just how good a player is he?
Yeah, he's a star. I remember halfway through last year, I'd only heard he was a 19-year-old. I actually thought he'd been around a little bit longer, and it's credit to the way he plays and his consistency. But it is scary to think of how young he actually is, and guys tend to hit their peak at 25, 26 or thereabouts. So where he's going to be in 5 or 6 years' time is a scary thought.
The Eagle fans might have a bit of a memory too of last year and his incident with Will Schofield? Do you think he might cop a few boos and a few jeers?
Oh, no, I wouldn't have thought it. Would have thought our fans have forgotten about that one, but they had the final laugh that night. So yeah, hopefully this week's a different story.
Just changing a little bit, Luke, you've got a child due later in the year, but the chance of a premiership now and achieving that dream, is it give you a bit of perspective that you've got this huge chance to win a premiership, but also you've got something a bit more important coming later in the year?
Yeah, I suppose you speak to any of the guys who have had their first kid this year, and they all say the same thing, that you realise that footy is just a game and there's a lot more to life, and yeah, it's certainly super exciting for me and my partner, but you know, on the other side of the coin, chances like this one that we've got now to stay up a top 2 spot and have a real crack at finals, they don't come along too often. You know, you look at teams like Hawthorn and Geelong who can win a number of premierships in a short amount of time. It's a pretty special thing to be able to do, and you know, the opportunity we've got now, we want to make sure we're focused on that and take it with both hands and see how we go, and whenever the bub comes along, I'll worry about that then.
Will Kennedy head back for finals?
Yeah, I would have thought he'd be right for probably round 23 against Brisbane, which is important for him to have a run and get a bit of touch back before finals comes around.
What do you think when you...
Aaron Sandilands might be in talks for a backup ruckman next year. What would it be like to play next to Aaron?
Yeah, well, you have to look at the Fremantle midfield and how much damage they can do with Big Sandy, and you get your answer. But yeah, I think we've got other things to worry about at the moment. But if you ask me when our season's over, I'll tell you what I think.
There are a lot of players out of contract all around the league, players being linked to different clubs. You've got assistant coach being linked to different clubs because he's got to move home. You've got the gaff stuff going on, contracts all over the place. How do you stay focused as a team when there's so much stuff going on the periphery? Yeah,
well, that's just the industry we're in now, and you guys are so good at your job, you'll sniff things out from a mile away and you can't keep anything a secret. So yeah, we've had a few distractions throughout the season, but I think we've managed to stay reasonably focused on the job at hand and stay on task. And yeah, the last fortnight, 3 weeks has probably been the toughest, but had a win on the weekend, and now we move on to Melbourne, and hopefully we can just focus on footy.
Do you think the leaders who drive the staying focused on and not worrying about all of the potential distractions that are going on?
To be honest, no one overly drives it. We don't really talk about it inside the club, to be honest. All the contract stuff, Sam Mitchell, I mean, Gaffy, guys will contact Gaffy throughout the week to see how he's going and check in on him, but it's just not something you talk about. You don't really have time. You debrief the game till about Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you focus on the team you're playing within the next 3 or 4 days. So, yeah, to be honest, there's not a lot of time to dwell on things that are going on outside the club.
So is that a sign that the opportunity in front of you is just too big that you just don't do anything that can stuff it up?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've got a pretty focused group, which is handy, just naturally. So, you know, I think it'd take a bit to distract our group, but I think we've handled the distractions throughout the year reasonably well.
Just back on the swing, how do you look to combat that scoring influence? Do you guys have to look to the shot to his taps, or back your own rucks in?
Oh, well, you got to back your own rucks in to a certain extent. I mean, our boys were terrific on the weekend against Paddy Ryder, and I know Paddy was sore and he ended up going down later in the game, but I thought our guys were on top for a lot of the game, even while Paddy was out there. So, but there's no denying that Maxie's going to get his hand to a lot of footy, no doubt about that, and he has done all year, but I mean, it's not the be-all and end-all. It's a big part of the game we'll focus on this week, but yeah, we've played against him a couple of times now, and we haven't actually watched much Melbourne stuff just yet. We'll get onto that tomorrow, but yeah, it's certainly one of the better challenges in the competition.
Do you think Gaffy will play for West Coast next year? Your gut feel, I know you can't read his mind and know what he's thinking, but do you think the gut feel is you'll be a West Coast Eagle next year?
Look, I know he loves the club. He loves the people involved, and the West Coast Footy Club has been such a big part of his life for the last 8 years. So it's a massive decision. I don't want to comment on it. It's his decision, and it's great now that he's got time to think about it. But we certainly look forward to having him back around the traps over the next few days or week or so, and he can help us have a crack at finals.
You've been through the decision yourself. How tough is it to actually separate yourself, work out what you want to do, talk with the family, talk with home?
Never spoke to the family. I was pretty happy to sign on straight away. My decision was pretty easy. But everyone's different. I mean, I was more than happy to stay here for however long I signed for, and am still happy to stay here for the rest of my career. And I can't tell you what Gaffy's thinking, but everyone's different, and but I'm sure he'll make the right decision for him in due time.